Yo, 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 what's going on, governors? Welcome back to the 2025 Rise of Kingdoms Global Grand Prix Championships. I am your host, Straight Dan Gaming, and joining with me tonight is my good buddy, Brian Koo. Brian, thank you for getting up at the crack of dawn. Good morning to you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. And in what you said there, I think the key word is global. It's 6 a.m. where I am on the U.S. West Coast. It's midnight where you are in Australia, and we're about to cast two Chinese teams play Ark of Osiris, where it's about 9 o'clock where the two teams are playing. So yeah, we're all over the map with this one, but looking forward to it, my man.
Yeah, global indeed. And today we have 62M1 and 45Q from the Chinese servers going head to head in a best of 3 series today to see who goes on to the finals. Loser goes down to the lower bracket to face off against the winner of Beer and 60GT. Don't forget to tune into that epic showdown where Plato and Wardaddy Chatsky will be casting at 15 UTC. For 62M1 and 45Q, it is somewhat of an underdog scenario. Both teams making their first appearance in Grand Prix history. 45Q though does have a championship pedigree as they were Realm of Beset champions in their season 6 Osiris League appearance. Meanwhile, 62M1 playing with the chip on their shoulder, not only registering in this Grand Prix by means of qualifiers, but also looking to avenge their runner-up placement in their Realm of Anubis Osiris League run. Brian, in this roller coaster of the Grand Prix tournament so far, what are you expecting from these two teams today in the very first best of 3 series that we're going to have in this tournament?
Yeah, Dan, this is going to be a really interesting match, and certainly the players have bet on the match ahead of time. They've made 45Q a slight favorite. Almost 250,000 different Rise of Kingdoms accounts betting on this match. I think the betting window just closed a few minutes ago. I do think that 45Q is probably the favorite in this match. They came into the Grand Prix being talked about as sort of the co-favorite along with Beer. And then they landed a couple weeks ago, they landed that knockout blow against Beer in the winner's bracket where they did an early obelisk capture. They captured both of Beer's obelisks while Beer was, let's say, dilly-dallying at the mid. And, that has allowed 45Q to just sit comfortably in the winner's bracket the whole time. A team like Beer has had to go down to the loser's bracket and play a lot of best of ones just to survive. And, like you said, Dan, we have a best of 3 match today between these two Chinese teams. And, whoever wins this, they are comfortably in the winner's bracket finals. Every match they play from here on out will be a best of 3. The team that loses today, they get thrown down to a best of 1 against the best international team surviving. And that just gets a lot more dangerous than chilling up here in the winner's bracket.
Yeah. And even if you do, your hopes are still alive if you go into the lower bracket, I should say. And then if you have to come back up, we're going to see one of these teams potentially have to come back up into this upper bracket and then win another best of 3 series. So something that's going to be really, really tough against them. A few things that I think I'm going to be looking for in this match. We have a best of 3. So I think there's going to be a little bit of playfulness when it comes to, can we get a little risky with some of our plays? We've seen the Chinese server teams really, really take on this this mentality of like, we're going to go and take your obelisk. We've seen 45Q do it, as you mentioned, against Beer last week. It's primed to do it against 62M1, who is a relatively pretty decent mid-arc team, kind of taking that approach instead of occupations. Do you think that an obelisk play is something that we're going to be looking out for here in these in the first match or in this series at all?
Dan, I have two minds on this one. My first thought as a war lead and an arc lead is I would not want to take the risk of doing a home run obelisk play in the very first match, where if it doesn't work, that's just a big demoralizing blow, like right off the bat. Like, these guys have a long day ahead of them here. And do you really want to demoralize your team immediately with a failed obelisk play? On the other hand, Dan, what's the last time you saw an obelisk play not work, right? Like, in the era of Nomar,
Yeah.
I feel like I see more obelisk plays work than not. if your whole team swarms their obelisk and half the other team is at the mid, and then you cast no mark to reduce the occupation time, like, isn't the chances of success like pretty freaking high for those obelisk captures? So, you know, my naturally conservative nature would be like, oh no, it's not going to happen. There's like a 20% chance of it happening. But because obelisk plays are so powerful, maybe it's more like 33% that we see something here. And I think probably more likely from 62M1.
Oh, wow.
Because
Okay.
I think they're the underdogs. But,
Okay.
you know, the thing is, Dan, I think these teams are pretty conventional, to be honest. Like, I honestly, both of these teams go mid quite a bit. They don't really skip a lot of mids. So, you know, they are pretty conventional overall. If I'm a betting man, I'm saying no obelisk play in this first game.
All right. So we're looking for a little bit of safety plays from my correspondent, Brian Koo, as we are going to get into the match now. We have 62M1 in the blue, 45Q in the red. And again, 45Q is kind of and kind of to those betting odds a little bit, kind of in a little bit of a better position here. They have the championship pedigree. They have won Osiris League Realm Championship under their belt. 62M1 playing with the chip on their shoulder, and this is going to be a really, really interesting match. I'm excited to see how we get into this in this best of three, and how these teams kind of maneuver, knowing that they can kind of afford some sort of a loss. What are some of the things that you're maybe like talking to your team, or some of a little bit of the mindset that you're going into a best of three series, Brian?
Well, I must say I have never played in a best of three, so it's foreign territory for a lot of us. But the thing that I always think about with best of threes is something that Chisgel said a year or so ago. We were casting the second match between 489 and GT in a best of three, and 489 had won the first match, and Chiz just said, you know what, I've been casting these Ark matches for a long, long time, and what I have noticed is that really good teams, they adjust. If they lose the first match, they're able to adjust and often win the second match. So I think that is really the operative word here, is adjust. You get a feel for what your opponent is doing, and you just, you know, if you know your own team very well and know this format very well, you're probably going to see some tweaks you can make for the game too. And also, oftentimes a tweak is all that it takes to flip the result.
Yeah, I agree. And one other thing to note too on these two teams is they've had some time off. Like, I think it's been, because I mean we everyone was off last week, right? And then correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't play the week before, so they had off 2 weeks now in kind of this preparation. So something along those lines. I feel like these teams haven't played in quite some time.
Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks actually, and I think what's interesting is, like, I wonder who they're practicing against, right? I imagine, like, in the past these two teams might have practiced with each other, both being Chinese teams. But do you practice against your opponent during this off period? And if you don't, you have to find, like, you know, teams that are knocked out to play against. But there might be a lot of reps happening on this Grand Prix server. Of course, all the players in the Grand Prix have access to this server to practice.
Yep.
And it seems like people are playing on it a lot because people have gotten really, really good.
Oh yeah, 100%. And even when I did my little stint on the 93X Grand Prix team, I mean, like, we definitely wanted to take full advantage of the fact that we had, you know, these pretty much god accounts at our fingertips, and, you know, not even just for Grand Prix, but just for, you know, general Rise of Kingdoms knowledge, just trying to figure out, you know, the best of the best, right? What's going to work the best. And then when you break it down to an Ark of Osiris level, I mean, you get really into the nitty gritty of these things. And, you know, what troop compositions do you want to run? Do you want to run mainly cav? Do you want to do infantry? So it's definitely been a super fun process. And it's a little sad that we're getting down to the last few weeks here, but the gates have opened. Our best of three series is now kicked off, and these teams are now in the fight of their lives to move on to the Grand Prix finals. Opening moves looking pretty standard so far. This is going to be kind of that time that we're going to take to see if there is going to be some kind of trickery involved on the opening obelisk plays, or are they going to opt for a first mid-arc obelisk play as 45Q did in their previous match against Beer. Pretty standard moves, I would say, so far, right, Bri?
Yeah, it looks Standard so far, but anything can happen here in the next minute or so. You know, one of the things, Dan, that we didn't talk about pregame, we talked about sort of the plays that people can run, and we focused on the obelisk plays. But with the way Ark works today with all the new skills, there are other plays you can run, right? Like there are other things you can do that are a little bit unconventional, such as skipping the first mid, also casting an early no mark, right? We've seen teams cast no mark really, really early in the match, like literally the first skill that they cast, and using that to get first capture on some enemy buildings. With the two teams here, we have seen neither of them cast a skill early on. Both teams have used stocking up in the past, so not too strange to see them not casting any skills. But, you know, for 45Q in red, they do use energetic quite a bit, so a little notable that they didn't cast energetic right at the start of the match.
Yeah, energetic, stocking up, kind of those, you know, standard plays here. And it is quite interesting to see neither of the teams opting for those skill point generation skills to be used in the very beginning. We do see 62M1 starting to provision now, which kind of tells you that they haven't used energetic yet. They are starting to provision, which means that stocking up is probably going to be in the cards for them. However, 45Q has not started provisioning, and they also haven't used energetic. So only time is going to tell. There is the first stocking up from 62M1 coming in right away. It looks like they're trying to prime themselves up for a nice first mid arc here. And so far, so good. No trickery from either of these teams.
Well, I mean, look at the top side. Look at red on the top side, right? Like you said, no gatherers, no energetic. And look at this movement, something that I have not seen before. 45Q just posturing up in the middle here at this cliff face. But then even blue just is one ball. They're not really splitting into separate groups yet. Obviously, this 45Q formation has been spotted out by the blue team's rally, so they kind of know that whatever's happening is happening at this mountaintop. But really interesting opening by 45Q on the top here, just being all together. And something sort of similar on the bottom side too. They're now splitting off. They were all moving together, and at the last minute here, with a minute to go before the buildings open, now they're sort of splitting where like one group goes to the outside lane, one group goes to the inside lane. But pretty sophisticated movement here by 45Q in red to open this thing up.
This is something that we're starting to see, right? Each season we kind of see these new developments, these new evolutions, and I have started to see some teams starting to adopt this approach as well, as 45Q is going to start to engage on this bottom side Desert Altar defense against 62M1. But we have seen teams now starting to kind of position themselves in the middle rather than kind of splitting off and kind of like trying to, you know, hide their hand a little bit, so that way these teams can't get a gauge of where exactly they are going, because it is kind of a standard thing that you want to do, kind of going in and counting the troops to see on your inner lane or your outside lane if there's going to be a little bit of an overcommit. So a lot of these teams starting to adapt and starting to evolve in some of these a little bit more intricate strategies. 45Q doing a good job here on this opening murder ball. 2 seconds until the Desert Altar is going to open. Can they get in? They are able to get that first tap. They need to get the garrison in. 62M1 does look to be having a little bit more field presence here now. 4 altar swing for 45Q. Very good job by them, and what an assault here on the top side as well. Very dominant presence on these opening plays here, Bri.
Yeah, they really outmaneuvered the blue team 62M1 in this Desert Altar lane. They just ended up having a lot more players here. A lot of those blue marches got stuck up at that mountain cliff. They were distracted by the same thing we got distracted by. And so when this fight started at the Desert Altar, there were just more red marches. Like, even though it was the enemy building, red just had more marches at that building. Pretty similar situation on the Sky Altar down here. It was weird what happened at the Sky Altar. I saw a lot of blue marches get into this fight super late. But yeah, really, really good opening by 45Q here, taking all 4 altars and having so many marches left at these buildings that it seems, I think they have a good chance of getting first capture on some of these buildings.
Yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that enemy desert altar as well as their enemy sky altar here, as they are trying to get back their own sky altar on the top side. But I do agree that this was, I mean, you can even see here still such a very good defensive presence and posture here. A minute and 30 left until first occupation on these buildings. A really good defense here, still holding on the sky altar. This is looking a little bit troublesome for 62M1. They should be going into this first mid arc with a little bit of a point advantage due to stocking up. Can they take a little bit more advantage from being down on the points here? Rally coming in for 62M1. We see the QSH and Shapur rally, which is very, very well known for that anti-swarm. That AoE from QSH just absolutely blast those open field marches. 1 minute to hold for 45Q. Are they going to be able to reinforce this? You can see the double C's now starting to run in, and this is looking like a pretty healthy hold so far here, Bri.
Yeah, this looks like almost a comfortable hold, I would say. That QSH Shapur rally is going to do some nice AoE to all the marches swarming it. You can see those red marches really getting chunked down heavily on the enemy side of this building. But listen, they got a lot of rains in safely. They've got a full desert altar or sky altar, and they've got 30 seconds here. They killed the rally. It's left to these swarmers. It's left to this player in blue to try to swarm this thing down, but he is very outnumbered here. And yeah, it looks like this is probably gonna be a first capture for 45Q. And just to update you on some of the other lanes, it also looks like 45Q is gonna get first capture on the desert altar on the top side. Huge start for 45Q here.
Wow. That is quite the start for 45Q indeed. And, you know, one of those things with that QSH rally, I mean, it's a good play when you want to try and, you know, pepper down the open field troops around you, but it doesn't do a lot of damage to the altars and to the structure. So it's kind of something that you're doing kind of like this like semi gamble here. And you can see this score is really blown up. 62M1 is really going to have to make some moves here. And Ark is going to give them 3,000 points. So if they are able to obtain this arc, they're only going to be down about 1,300 points. So they're still not out of it yet, but a very strong opening for 45Q to get a 4 altar swing first occupation. And 62M1 kind of knows that they need to make a move here, starting to get their middle presence all set and ready to go. 3.5 minutes until Ark is going to spawn. Let's go ahead and go back to the sky altar, see if they're going to have any luck on getting this thing back. This is almost like a 93T approach, where they really like to take those outside structures from you right before a mid-arc spawns to kind of force your hand a little bit. It's your structure, you want to go get it back, but it's on the outside, so it's gonna make you late on your rotations for middle. So really nice play from 45Q, and they are still holding on to this thing with 3 minutes left until the first arc.
Yeah, it looks like M1 is going to get this building back at an okay time. They've got 3 minutes. They can refresh and get to mid-late. Like you said, this is a typical building that enemy teams will take this outside lane. The thing is, 45Q also took the desert altar. Like, they took the altar right in M1's face also, right? And so if you're M1 and you're having trouble on your outside lane on the bottom side, you're just hoping and praying that things are going better on the top side, but they really aren't. I mean, they just got absolutely smoked here at this desert altar. They finally have taken it back, and 2.5 minutes till arc. I want to note that Energetic was also cast by M1. Yep. So they used the stocking up early. They did do gathering, right? And so they will have a skill point advantage for this first mid fight. But look at what it cost them. Look at what using 4 or 5 marches to gather cost them early on. They lost first capture on both of their buildings. That's worth the same as an arc. So, you know, they will have a skill point advantage here, but it's just they need to get this arc just to tie this match up, basically. Yeah,
they need to get it back, not only for the point's sake, but to kind of get this tempo back, right? Like, they're really on the back foot here, a quarter way through the match, and this is almost like a, I don't want to say make or break, but this is a very pivotal Ark here, because if 45Q is able to obtain this and hold on to it, they're really going to start to be able to bleed this thing out, and it's not going to look good for 62M1. We will note that both of these teams are very, very adept at provisioning. Both are able to put up anywhere from 6,000 to 7,000 points. So you're talking about an arc or two worth of points that these teams are able to
go to the Desert
provision.
Altar, bottom side. Red team,
Okay.
Desert Altar, bottom side. So they just switched the captain. The captain was an Ethelfled. So they were rallying and swarming an Ethelfled garrison. They switched it to the Hera. But this is ambitious from 62M1. They're going heavy mid, but they also made this play at the Desert Altar. And it looks like they might get it. But even if they don't get it, Dan, they have really disrupted the red team getting to mid. There's a lot of red marches here trying to deal with this building and dealing with this mistake with the captain. And so an ambitious plan by 62M1 that so far is going fine, but they obviously have to capture the mid.
Yeah, and we saw, I think it was maybe a player or two kind of walking over to mid and then kind of turn back right when they were right about this point, saying, "Oh shoot, our altar is like kind of susceptible right now. We need to get back and take care of this thing." The defense is looking pretty good right now. The altar is a little low. Ark is going to spawn in 15 seconds, and you got. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, numbers-wise, it felt like 62M1 had the numbers advantage first. Master strategy now. Look at this. Master strategy from 62M1. Looks like they're going to teleport people away from Ark. They're going to try to steal this Ark immediately. Oh, my goodness.
And 62M1 with it to the death.
Big home run play by 62M1.
They get the pull with the master strategy, but were they able to get it? They were able to get it. They were able to snipe the Ark and master strategy it away right away. What impeccable timing from 62M1. Talking about they need to get this Ark to reset the tempo, and boom, they come out with the master strategy. But 45Q says, no, we ain't out of that yet. We're not playing that game. We're gonna pop no mark on you, and we have a match, ladies and gentlemen. 62M1 with their own no mark in response as well. And I mean, I gotta say, that opening was a little bit shaky, but both of these teams are now coming out firing and kind of putting out all kinds of countermeasures against each other here, Bri.
Huge play by 62M1, perfectly executed. And how about the escort on that Ark, right? Sometimes you escort the Ark walking home. This player, the space traveler here, got about a 15 March escort on the warp. They all warped home with him, which isn't bad, right? Like, they're back at their starting area and they can just push out, it's like a little bit better than being stuck mid. It's not like a lot better than being stuck mid, but it's like slightly better.
I think it's nice.
Man, just a quick obelisk. Yeah, go ahead.
It's nice because you don't have to, those troops are now coming in relatively fresh, right? If you're lingering around mid, there's potential that you're going to start getting beat up a little bit. You're going to start running away and they're going to start attacking you. Whereas these troops, I think, are able to come in a little bit relatively fresh, which is going to mean a lot for this reinforcement on the home desert altar of 62M1. As you can see, that was rather red there, and they are able to get the reinforcements in to hold on to their desert altar. You can see on the mini map they have been able to take over the sky altar of 45Q, but on the bottom side, very much the same thing. Both altars kind of swinging back and forth, so we're getting a little bit of this pendulum action. Both teams are on their games right now, trying to mitigate each other as best as they can, and this has been a pretty nice series of openings, I have to say, and we can see the power of stocking up an energetic. We were able to see 45Q utilize that in their match against Beer when they're able to take the obelisk plays. They were able to pop to the death with a no mark, which was able to lower the amount of time needed for the obelisk to be occupied. And we see here that 62M1 was able to pop master strategist to the death and then a no mark. So that 18 points almost, that seems a little outrageous.
That is outrageous. That is completely outrageous. I don't know about you, Dan. I missed the to the death. Like, in all of that, I missed the to the death. Not even sure where they used the to the death. Like, did they use it mid for whoever got left behind? But yeah, 18 points. They used 18 points during that first mid fight after casting energetic just a few minutes before that. So if you include the energetic there, that's 20 points that they were able to cast.
Yeah.
With all that economy. That's honestly the most points that I've ever seen used for a single mid fight. And then a perfectly executed arc steal, like a perfectly executed master strategy. They took the risk. They took the chance of a failure that demoralized them, but it worked. It was a 10 out of 10 execution for them. And like you said, we've got a game on our hands here with the Ark in hand. It's basically about a 500-point lead for the red team, 45Q.
Yeah, definitely have a match here for sure. 62 M1 doing a good job taking back their home Sky Altar, so we can see everything kind of becoming a little bit level here. So now we got to wonder, how long is 62 M1 going to look to hold on to this Ark? We got to think that it's probably going to be relatively long. They're going to want to replenish some of those skill points. They're probably getting some farmers going out to go in for another stocking up play. And I mean, I just got to go back to that master strategy play a little bit here, because like not only are you relying on your Ark carrier having some fast fingers, but you're kind of leaving it a little up to like latency too. Like you're having a little bit of trust in the system here, that like even if you do have the faster player who can click, I mean, you never know if you get a little bit of latency lag. So like what a gamble that was for 62 M1 to kind of throw it all out there for that master strategy, but it was a very, very crisp play here. 62 M1 doing a nice job on the Shrine of War on 45Q. Again, everything pretty much stabilizing here now. Really good attack here on the Shrine of War for 62 M1. Brian, do you think that 62 M1's now going to kind of do a little bit of a prolonged hold on this Ark? When do you think we can expect them to cash this and get ready for another mid?
Yeah, it's a good question, Dan. I think we're going to see a max hold on this Ark. I think they're going to hold this thing for another 10 minutes. One of the things statistically going into this match is that from a fighting perspective, a kill points to severely wounded perspective, 62M1 is slightly negative on their ratios in this tournament. 45Q is dominant. They are a dominant ratio team in this event. They have captured more arcs per game than any other team. So I think that, and look at the start, Dan. I mean, look at the start. In like a fair fight, 45Q took both of their altars at the beginning. So I think there is a fighting advantage for 45Q, and I think 62M1, they really don't want to make this a mid game. So yeah, I think we're going to see a max hold, and they're just going to go from there, right?
Yeah.
But you know, you noted that the Shrine of War take by 62M1, that was a really big deal, I think, taking one of 45Q's buildings there in this mid-game situation. So listen, it's not like they can't compete in the field with 45Q, but they just have to be on their best behavior if it's going to work right.
Yeah, 100%. And we actually even see, we do have an obelisk take here, so we got to kind of go pan over to that and see if that's anything serious. We did get a Shrine of War take as well for 45Q, and a minute and a half until this obelisk is going to get capped. It looks like it was maybe just a Belisarius, or maybe just a quick rally that was looking to take this thing down.
Yeah, it was an empty obelisk, actually.
Empty obelisk, a little bit of a snipe here. 1 minute until that thing gets cashed. And then, I mean, those teleports are huge. We saw that really come into play in the GY16 match against 93T. 93T with a really good response against them. They were able, GY16 was able to get 2 cities in, but I think the teleport advantage just really crippled 93T. So there's definitely something not to sleep on. This looks like it is going to be well defended here. A little bit of a you know, staying honest on that for the 45Q Belisarius there. And yeah, we're kind of evening out here a little bit again, although actually 45Q does have the Sky Altar of 62M1 yet again, and looking to get a nice defensive hold on here. And I think that obelisk take was a little bit of a nice timing, because it kind of stalled getting a little bit more of those troops up and forward on this recap on the Sky Altar here.
Yeah, some pretty heavy fighting in both of these buildings on the bottom side. A good attack by red team on this Sky Altar. I agree with you. I think they're going to hold this thing for a while. We don't see a rally coming out yet for M1. At the same time, M1 has been trying to attack the Desert Altar nearby. That is being defended pretty well by the red team. So, you know, yeah, the bottom side here does seem to favor 45Q, and they have opened up about a 4,000 point lead now. And from occupation score, they're up 5K points here, Dan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still a long road for the blue team, and 45Q is just going to keep applying the pressure, I think.
Yeah, big occupation lead. Stocking up was used again from 62M1, so I think all signs telling that they are gonna, I mean, it's only 6 minutes, so they're gonna look to cash soon, looking to get those points ready for this next mid-arc fight. And you have to wonder, they've used master strategy, they've used to the death. Typically we see time warp on the bar as well, so you got to think of, you know, what is the play here for 62M1, because it feels like they might be putting themselves in a little bit of a pigeonhole with the skills that they've chosen to use, and they just might not have a lot of versatility going in for multiple mid-arc fights. So we're really gonna have to see here as 62M1 is trying to get back their Sky Altar. Pretty good attack here. It looks like it should flip back over, but 45Q is doing a pretty good job of reinforcing it. 62M1 does take the Sky Altar back. And Brian, what do you think about that? I'm playing with that in my head now. Like, the skills that they use, like, very flashy, but like they can't use match strategy again, they can't use to the death again unless they use time warp, and then they have no mark, which they kind of also need time warp for, and then they're stuck with 2 skill regenerating skills in energetic and stocking up. So like, do you feel like they're gonna pigeonhole themselves a little bit here if they are to make this like a mid fight?
Yeah, it's a very good point, and a good call out on the early stocking up. This does feel a little early for a stocking up if you're going to max hold this arc, but I think what is happening is they're using stocking up now, they're getting some skill points from that, and then they are pigeonholing themselves to using time warp and then having a refreshed skill bar, and we might see a second stocking up before this next mid fight to just make sure you have enough points along the way for to the death. But boy, Dan, they don't have any mid skills. Like, they don't have any mid skills except for to the death and another master strategy. So 62M1 here, like, we're really focused on the buildings and like, oh, how are the buildings going for these two teams? But I think if you're 62M1, they're like doing this very complicated calculus right now of when do we use time warp? You know, how do we use this master strategy? Like, do we try to steal another arc, or do we do like a late attack on the sides and then warp players to mid-late? Like, how they use this second master strategy, I think, is pretty much the key to the match here. If M1's going to have a shot, they need a really good second use of the master strategy. Even though they've already done a great one once, they honestly have to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it that there's some avenues that they have. They can go master strategy. They can kind of posture up for a mid fight and then go in and sack, and then, you know, potentially go to no mark play, although they haven't really had much success on these buildings so far, so that might not be too likely in the cards. And then on the flip side, 45Q, 4 skills still on the bar that we have no idea what it's going to be. Dust up definitely in play, no mark of course, so we have to wonder what 45Q is set up on their skill bar as well, and you got to think it's definitely going to be more skills that are going to be helpful in these mid fights. So 62M1 from a skill usage perspective might have their work cut out for them a little bit here. About halfway through the match, 3.5 minutes until 62M1 has to score this arc. Chat, do remember that this is a best of 3 series that these teams are going to be playing. Winner goes on to the finals, loser goes down to the lower bracket to fight the winner of 60GT and beer. Good attack here from 45Q on the home Sky Altar of 62M1, and this 45Q attacks, these seem relentless. They're just like constantly in your face, and you got to think, like, maybe is it attributed to the fact that you know, 62M1 is provisioning, but then when you look, 45Q is also provisioning. So why do you think that is, Brian? They've been doing a good job on these defenses on the Desert Altar too, yet they're always in 62M1's face on this Sky Altar.
I mean, they're just crushing them at the Sky Altar. I'm looking at the marches and trying to like figure out what this lane is doing so well. I will say, like, the marches I'm seeing are QSH, ZL, I believe, a lot of Huo Jones, Scipio Phillip, some and Arthur William. Also a good number of Arthur Williams in this lane. So just like, these are the meta marches that these people are crushing with. Yeah, it's a QSH ZL for the most part, and then also a Herman Phillip that I'm seeing in this 45Q lane. So without being able to be in these players' heads and know like exactly what they're doing to fight this well, you got to just kind of look at the marches and be like, all right, well, we should probably copy that. But yeah, pretty as Cav guys, Dan, I like that Arthur William is actually getting some run here as like a top 5 open field margin Grand Prix.
Yeah, we found that as we were kind of playing around in in our Grand Prix prep on 93X that the fill up kind of suited being with Skippy Prime a little bit better, which then freed up that slot behind Arthur, and then obviously the synergy kind of works best with William. So I do agree, as a fellow Cav main, it is nice to see Arthur still squeezing out a little bit of longevity, and I've even seen some XYs on this match and through this Grand Prix as well. So Cav gang, I mean, it's been a little rough for us the past few months, but we are still alive and well in these Grand Prix tournaments where speed is ever so important. And 45Q doing a really good job. There's 10 seconds until they're going to hold on to this Sky Altar and start generating points for themselves. It's going to be a 3 altar swing for 45Q. 1 minute left until 62M1 in the blue has to score this arc, and this is starting to become a little bit troublesome here. I mean, we're going to have a true score of 14.1k for 62M1 to 16.5, so we're talking about a 2.4 k point differential. Second arc's going to spawn. It's going to be 3,500 points, so they are still in this thing. But as we were kind of discussing, that the mid skills are going to start to become a little bit concerning for them, especially if we're talking about this thing kind of going into a third arc kind of game where they're really going to be limited due to these skills that are on their bar here. And I think that's going to be a nice take back for 62M1. We can see a nice attack starting to develop here for 45Q. And before we go over to there, let's go and check and see if 62M1 can have any success on this desert altar. They need to start taking some buildings for sure. That would definitely help this kind of like pseudo mid-arc strategy that they're kind of putting together here for us. And it doesn't...
I think... No, I was just going to say, like, so the tweak that I would make here if I were the blue team is I don't love this attack, these endless sort of successful attacks on these desert altars. It looks like they might flip it here, but like they're losing in the Sky Altar lane. You could divert some of these players that are on the attack to actually just hold your own Sky Altar next door. And I think overall that would have been more successful from a points perspective. But Dan, I think what you see from 62M1 here is a sense that they are the underdog and they're trying to do the absolute maximal amount they can. They're like, we're struggling to hold our own buildings, but we're still going to try and do these really big attacks on the enemy buildings because like we have to do that. Like we have to get those points or we're just going to come up short. But what we are seeing here is they are coming up short. Like so far, they really are coming up short. That looked like they were going to take that desert altar to me, but 45Q got the reins in, swarmed down the rally first, and now they're finishing off the field. And we're just seeing really good defenses at this desert altar while their buddies on the outside lane are crushing it on the offensive side.
Yeah, and another thing that does too is that this tempo now kind of gets a little bit tricky for 62M1 as we can maybe start to see some players diverting back a little bit now, starting to try and wait. These guys are kind of caught in the crossfires. They're gonna have to do their thing and suck it up, and they're gonna have to wait for this next rally. And yeah, I think sometimes when you're in these arc matches, I mean, I think sometimes it's best to kind of let a rally go without a little bit of support, kind of let that thing go, and then your next attack is kind of that true attack that you're going to get. I do want to note here that 45Q did use their stocking up just about 40 seconds ago. 6 minutes until the arc spawn. 62M1 has cashed it. We have our true score here, so we got 2,800 point difference. 62M1 needs to make up, very much in the cards when this next mid arc spawns, and would definitely help if they're able to take on some of these altars as well. But I mean, for the most part, it's starting to do a little bit of a better job on this top side. I haven't seen this altar flip as much as it was in those kind of opening moments, and we got to see here if they can get a good defense on their home Sky Altar.
Yeah, top side's been a little more neutral, but yeah, this Sky Altar, let's see what's developing here. Pretty good attack from 45Q developing. Looks like a QSH Shapur rally in there somewhere. And yeah, I mean, this has just been a rough lane for 62M1. And Dan, like you said, Ark returned 5 minutes before the next Ark. We did see the red team bar flashing a few times. I think we get to see when stocking up is being credited with gatherers by seeing that bar flash. But looks like this Sky Altar is going to be captured again by 45Q with 5 minutes to go before Ark. We know that the blue team, M1, is looking for something sophisticated here to get this second Ark, but it's just getting waterlogged by the occupation game of the red team. It's making any sort of sophisticated attack very hard to do because they have to do the very basic thing of taking back their own building over and over again.
Yeah, and then not to mention too that like they have to know that coming down the pipeline very soon, especially with stocking up being used, 45Q is going to use that no mark yet again, and we know that no mark boosts the points that you have. It multiplies all the points you have from all the structures that are being held. So with them being so dominant in this building game right now, 62M1 has to know that that no mark is coming, and it has to be kind of creeping on the back of their minds where they have to stop losing these home structures here. And another really good attack formed on the Desert Altar. This actually looks like it's going to be a good defense from 62M1, as we've kind of been seeing a little bit more so on this top side. Brian, what do you think 62M1 has to do here on top of, you know, keeping a hold on their home structures? What do you think that are some win conditions for 62M1 in the blue?
So I think we're probably going to see another attempt at warping the Ark, honestly. We're seeing the blue team rotate to mid early. They're definitely rotating to mid before 45Q. And I think what they want to do is take the temple again, right? We saw them take the temple last time and get that first pull. They're in such a bad situation in terms of a straight up mid fight. They're in such a bad situation, Dan. I mean, they can only cast 6 points and warp some players in. If they want to do a conventional mid fight, they can use To the Death and warp some players in. Whereas 45Q can just dump, 12 plus points on them here. So I think their only option, honestly, is to try to steal another Ark. And they're going to try to do that by just getting there early and grabbing it the same way they did the first Ark. But what we are seeing from the red team is they're not messing around this time. They don't want to see a repeat of that first Ark. And they're going to probably try to contest this temple before the Ark even spawns.
So they get the next Ark, they're able to master strategy it away, and then now we have, once they get this, it's going to be 21 minutes, and then they have the ability to hold, and then we get down to about 10 minutes that they have to cash, which will be left in the match. Do they have to go for a third Ark then? And then if they do, then what are they? Because if they are able to get this right, they're going to even out the score. Let's assume maybe these guys are a little bit even on provisions. And then we know that 45Q has had the advantage in the building game, and we know that another no mark is coming. So does 62M1 then, after, say, best case scenario, snipe this Ark with another master strategy, they have to go in and score another one, you think?
I think it's just 2. I think it's not worth the squeeze on a third Ark. Honestly, the second Ark is going to be hard enough, dude. I don't think they can get this second Ark. I mean, I might eat my words. I'm like, I want this to be exciting, so I'm allowing myself the possibility to eat my words. But with the number of points that 45Q has and their ability to use these points early, which we are already seeing them use it. We're already seeing them use a Desert Storm that will not be countered. There's no Desert Storm coming from the blue team. The Desert Storm is only happening from the red team, and you see it. A minute before this Ark is spawning, red is trying to breach this temple. They are on point with what they need to do here. They need to clear these players, and there's the master strategy.
Yep, there we go.
Early. So they're not going to try to steal it. They're not going to try to steal it. They're going to warp players in.
What?
I'm looking for these warps. I'm looking for the warps.
45Q with To the Death. Another stocking up used by 62M1 as well. 62M1 also able to get their own To the Death, but the master strategy with 50 seconds left, I think maybe they just got a little bit out postured. 45Q knew that they couldn't let them do that to them a second time, and this is not gonna appear good for 62M1. I mean, maybe they were able to get in another set of troops that weren't battered up by that Desert Storm, but is it going to be enough?
Dan, I'm a little ahead of you, and I'm going to be honest. I don't even know where that master strategy happened. Like, I didn't see a warp mid. Did you see a warp circle mid?
I did see. I think I saw it. I think I saw it.
Yeah, looking at it, I don't even know that they got anything out of that master strategy. So yeah, just a clean capture by 45Q. Something may have gone wrong there for the master strategy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just did not even come close to working. So 45Q gets a very easy arc.
Very easy arc, and I think totally in the driver's seat now. This is going to give them a true score of up about 8,000 points, and I don't know if 62M1 is going to have the ability to kind of go back and provision enough. We do see already 3,400 points on the provisions for 62M1, and really respectable as well. 2,800 points for 45Q, but maybe a little bit of a blunder there for that master strategy. And I just think that, yeah, 45Q kind of snipped it out. Again, I like the approach, right? And I like the kind of trickery, and it's something new and different that we haven't really seen before, but it really pigeonholes you moving forward in the match, right? Like, you just don't have a lot of skills available to be utilized, you know, for other things, and you're really just kind of drawing yourself in for, you know, I mean, look at this. There's 4 6-point skills on the board. It's like almost terrifying to look at if you were just like kind of getting into Ark and you weren't really like adept at all these like cool strategies. And it's like probably one of like the biggest things that you probably don't want to see is like this many 6-point skills on a bar.
Yeah, I think the energetic is the skill that's not really needed here. They wanted to have the energetic because they wanted to use 18 points for the first mid, but you didn't really need the to the death. Like, if you're gonna steal the arc with a master strategy, you don't really need to cast to the death there. So I think you just get rid of the energetic. You still can steal the first arc, and then you have to the death and Desert Storm for a second mid fight, and you can maybe, well. Yeah, and you can time warp then. You can time warp then and use some of those skills twice if you have so many skill points. So yeah, I think it's really the energetic that bogged them down pretty hard here. But you know, still was like a pretty incredible arc steal on the first one, and certainly M1 has made this a competitive match. You know, we've got about 19 minutes to go, and with the arc being captured, this looks like about a. Or when it gets captured, it's going to be about a 7,500 point lead for 45Q. Yeah, it does feel a little bit insurmountable for M1 because 45Q can just hold this for the rest of the match if they want to. And there's really no reason for them not to just hold it and make it a 2-arc game. It will be interesting though. Like, do they actually hold this, or do they just feel so confident that they go for a third mid?
I mean, it's pretty. I mean,
there's nothing left. Blue team has nothing left on their bar.
Yeah, there's nothing. I think you just hold this one. You go into the next match feeling real good. You're up 1-0, and look now I think, right, if you're here's where this best of 3 series strategy comes into play. Now you can get a little bit tricky. Maybe they go for an obelisk play. Who knows? You can afford it, right? You can afford it. You can say, hey, we feel really good in that first match that we just had against these guys. Let's go take their obelisk and end it and go home early.
Yeah, that they definitely have a loss to play with. If we assume that 45Q is going to win this match, then they definitely have a loss to play with if they want to do something really aggressive in the second match. And that is like scary for sure, Dan, right? Like, they've already been a super successful arc stealing team or obelisk stealing team, and they're just like dominant in the field, so they can do so many interesting things in game 2. They can try to steal obelisks, they could do an early no mark, whatever they want to do. You know, if you're blue team and we talk about adjustments for M1, the adjustment I would make is, you know, this is just the way I am, Dan. I'm very conservative. I would just do less of these attacks on this lane. Like right now, what we are watching right now, the attacks on this lane that are been pretty good, right? They have more numbers in this lane, but they have not been able to take this building. Like they had one successful attack before the first arc because there was a captain mistake. But really, this attack here, I would divert some of these marches to the outside lane and just let yourself hold your own building, right? Like, I know that's not like a home run play, and obviously they need to make a number of changes here, but I think you have to start with, we have to hold our own buildings. We have to be able to hold our Sky Altar and give ourselves options about what we're doing with this master strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like how the playbook definitely gets opened up a little bit here. And yeah, I think 62M1 doesn't have to do anything too drastic to get themselves back into the second game. We have 16 minutes left, 10 minutes left until Ark has to get cashed, and about a 4,000 point lead for 45Q here, with a decent attack, but a lot of red around this desert altar here.
Yeah, I mean, this red lane has just done a really good job. They've been outnumbered a bunch of times, but they just have a bunch of players who are reinforcing. I'm seeing a Belly. I'm a little bit ahead of you, Dan, but I'm seeing like a Belly reinforcing right now, an Ethelfled with her speed reinforcing right now. I'm even seeing a backup garrison getting here right now. Like, they're walking the backup garrison here even when they don't even need it. So I think they actually have 2 backup garrisons, right? We see a Hera on your screen, and then I think we're going to see another Hera walking up. So, like, super good defense by the 45Q team here. They've got a bunch of people filling, and they have literally 2 backup captains ready to go if needed. So just very strong fundamental play from 45Q. And, you know, what does fundamental play lead to, Dan? It leads to pressure. It leads to this nonstop pressure, and eventually the other team cracks, right? The 45Q approach to that second mid was just very solid. They came into it with a lot of skills ready to go. They got there on time. They pressured the building, you know, a little early, and it completely flustered M1. They didn't do anything special. They didn't do anything special, but it was just nonstop, fundamentally good play, leads to pressure, leads to mistake by the enemy.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, and when you can put that pressure onto your enemy and you kind of pose more questions for them, they're bound to make a mistake. And when you're getting hit with that pressure, you know, right out of the gate, like it takes a lot on you mentally. Like we look at this, and it's something that I like to bring up, that, you know, it's really hard to stay composed for these players, right? Like these are players on the other side of these screens here, and as much practice as these guys put in, they're, you know, this stuff takes a toll on you mentally. And when you're kind of getting pressured like this, as 45Q has done to 62M1, you're going to make mistakes. And I've been on the receiving end, both in regular Osiris League matches and Ark matches and Grand Prix matches, and when you're getting pressured like this on your buildings time and time again, it becomes so frustrating, and there's a breaking point at some point as well. So I mean, for what it's worth, 62M1 still doing a really good job here. They are still alive, best of 3 series. We are going to be doing a short 10-minute intermission after this first match, chat, so don't go anywhere. We will be back for match 2. Winner of this match is going to go on to face the winner of winner of this match is going to go on to the finals. The loser of this match is going to the lower bracket to fight the winners of 60GT and Beer, where Plato and War Daddy Chadsky are going to be casting that match at 15 UTC. So be sure to tune in to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel then as well. 13 minutes left.
You know,
go ahead, Brian.
Well, no, you know, 45Q, they really have taken the overdog role in this tournament at this point. You know, they've been chilling in the winner's bracket the whole way. Like we said, they're not doing anything special here. They used all their special plays against Beer 2 weeks ago, which allowed them to just sit and rest and not show any of the rest of their playbook. They also really, I don't think they've shown much in this match either, like in terms of unconventional plays.
Yeah,
they've just been like, listen, we're just going to beat you in the field. You know, we're just going to like outmaneuver you early on and then beat you in the field, get first captures, dominate you on occupation, play incredibly good defense. I mean, let's look at this attack. Like, let's just see, like, what are they doing here that's like so effective in this Sky Altar lane? I mean, the field gets there before the rally, right? So good timing for the field versus the rally, right? They're already dealing with some of the swarmers. Now a second pack is here to protect the rally. Blue team making the correct decision to swarm this rally, I believe. But look at this. the swarmers are getting absolutely evaporated here. So just perfect timing for all these open field marches to get here for this attack. And that's on the rally, right? Like they released the rally at the exact perfect time. I mean, that's just that's just a great play by 45Q here, an attack like this.
Yeah, I'll say one thing that I learned through some of my Grand Prix experience this season was there's a lot more into microing than we give these players credit for. I think it was said that like Supreme Strife, we were able to kind of see like who's good at microing. I think that Osiris League and Grand Prix in particular, because everyone has the same things, I think Grand Prix takes it up another level. And what we're looking at here, obviously, like from a macro strategy level, are some of the best of the best, obviously with these last 4 teams left. But the ability to micro and control your field marches, who are you targeting, you sad face, you insta send out another troop, like all of that goes such a long way. And if you're not good at that, or your team is not good at that, you're gonna get knocked out. And it's one thing to really focus on and to give these players credit for is that the amount of microing that they have to do to be a really top tier team on this is exceptional. So shout out to all these teams, these last 4 teams who are left in our Grand Prix and really putting on these shows for us here. 10 minutes left in this match. We still have about a 4,000 point lead. Let's go ahead and take a look at the scoreboard. 590 points per minute for 45Q, 330 points per minute for 62M1. Kind of the tail of the tape in this match. 29,000 occupation points for 45Q to only 21,000 for 62M1. You can see that slight provisioning edge, but we knew that both of these teams were going to have kind of similar provisioning prowesses. And then kind of one thing that you've mentioned here, Bri, is look at the open and kind of in line with the whole micro aspect is look at the kills. You have 13 million more kills for 45Q over 62M1, which kind of it means a lot in these matches here. When everything is the same, you know, if you can kill more troops than the other team, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, it's just a huge advantage that 45Q has. It feels like they have a fighting advantage. Well, we don't know yet if they have a fighting advantage over GT, and we don't really even know if they have a fighting advantage over Beer, just because their match against Beer was so weird. Like capturing both obelisks, that changed the match and it changed how the ratio plays out so much. But they obviously have a fighting advantage against 62M1, and honestly, credit to 62M1 for like making it this far, being out ratioed by their opponents overall in this tournament. They made it to the final 4 being out ratioed, and we've seen glimpses of that for sure in this match where like their teamwork is very good. You know, they might not be the absolute best fighters, but their teamwork is really, really good, and they're just making the most out of what they have. To the death getting cast now.
I mean, you might as well. You got the points.
Yeah.
You might as well.
Yeah, we saw them use stocking up, and we did see the bar flashing for returning stocking up. So it looks like 45Q was just capped on skill points, and so they decided to just use to the death and blow out a group of M1 marches. And yeah, I think we'll probably see the Ark get returned here soon. Because the Ark takes 8 minutes to spawn, basically once there's less than 8 minutes left in the game, if you then return the Ark, there it is, Ark getting returned. So that means that an Ark will spawn with 5 seconds left in the game. That's just not enough time to capture it. So it's going to be a 2 Ark game, and currently 45Q has about an 8,500 point lead.
Man, this attack from 62M1 actually looks pretty good on their home desert altar to kind of take this back. And this is kind of something that you wish you would see like on the you know, outside lane on the sky altar and on the inside lane, just kind of having that presence. But then you can kind of see this 45Q just again relentless. You can see the double C's marching in, the Ethelfleds marching in. And another thing that's just ever so frustrating is as you're desperately trying to clear this field and swarm these structures down, and you kind of just have to watch these double C's and Ethelfleds just kind of walk in while you just kind of do your thing here. And this is you know, Gonna be a lot for 62M1 to kind of adjust and go into this second match, and I think there's a lot of questions that they're going to have to be prepared for going into the second match. Obviously, with the Obelisk plays, I mean, you have the opening Obelisk plays with the sneaky tactics. You can even probably even look for something like what GY16 did with the Master Strategist on the first arc. You know, so there's a lot that GY62M1 is going to have to be prepared for in this next match, on top of the relentless assault that is 45Q in the structure game, as we can see the map now just slowly turning ever so red in favor. And I think this might be 62M1, you know, maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit and maybe trying to collect themselves in voice chat. They're only going to have about 10 minutes to kind of recollect themselves, and you know, going to the lower bracket is definitely not something that you want to do. Both of those teams awaiting them, 60GT and Beer, are no slouches, and you know, some championship pedigree there waiting for them in 60GT, and a very hungry team in Beer as well. So 62M1 definitely has their work cut out for them a little bit going into this next match.
Definitely. One of the things I'm wondering about in terms of taking their foot off the gas is during that fight, during that really long swarm that eventually was successful for 62M1, I did see an Arthur Bertrand in the field swarming that building. Now, I'm just wondering if that is a troll or a legit march. I think it's probably legit, because Bertrand does launch combo attacks. Mm-hmm. You know, the remake of Bertrand does give combo attacks, and actually on a couple of his skills he gives combo attacks. So very interesting that we see the Arthur Bertrand getting some run here as a swarming march against a building. I'm not suggesting anyone go build Bertrand, but that was pretty interesting to see that dude in the field.
Yeah, and you know, these closing moments, you can kind of get a little bit playful. Maybe we'll see some, you know, interesting rallies coming out as well for some of these teams. Or, I mean, in the case in 45Q, you just kind of, you play everything close to the chest. You don't reveal anything else. They played almost a near perfect match, I would like to say. And you know, why are you gonna show anything else? And you know, that's the beauty of the beauty and I guess the despair of you know, these best of 3 series, where you know, it's just the one team is like almost in this total driver's seat. And you know, as we kind of close in on the finals, right, let's not forget that the team in the lower bracket who is going to proceed into the actual final match, and the winner of this match, which is looking to be 45Q, are going to have to win 2 best of 3 series against 45Q. So talk about exhausting as this whole Grand Prix tournament has been, between all the practices, between all the shenanigans that we've seen within the matches. And if you get knocked into this lower bracket, as it looking like 62M1 is going to, if you go up into the finals to face 45Q again, you're gonna have to win essentially 4 games. So it's still the tournament's almost over, but it's still a very long road for these teams.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's like, okay, so 62M1 lost this match right here. If they lose another match today and lose this series, that means they're gonna have to get to the finals, and then they're gonna have to beat 45Q 4 times to win the title, right? Like, you lose 2 today, it means that you have to do like double as much work a week from now. So, you know, it is a tough spot for 62M1 here going into game 2. But you do make a very interesting point, Dan, about 45Q didn't show a lot in this match, and they probably don't need to show a lot in the next match, right? It feels like they can beat 62M1. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's in a multiple best of 3 series, it seems like they have a very good chance of beating 62M1 overall. If they're still worried about Beer, or they're still worried about GT, who they haven't played GT in this tournament, then maybe you save some of your playbook for the finals against a team where you're like not as confident that you can just beat them with just straightforward, obvious play. So that may be an advantage for M1 in the second match, is that maybe they want to go with more of the home run plays. Maybe they want to take more of the risks and be unpredictable. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
45Q might want it. We know they can steal the obelisk, so they might just try to do that.
Yeah. I'm looking at these at our notes that we have here and just trying to get a gauge of what 62M1 can possibly come out looking like next match. And in their latest combination of skills, they've used Stocking Up, Desert Storm, Total Vision, Time Warp, To the Death, and No Mark. So something a little bit more standard. So I'm wondering if we're going to get this different look 62M1. I mean, we honestly have to get a different look 62M1, otherwise they're going to find themselves in a lower bracket. But I think we are definitely going to see a little bit more of traditional play, kind of some of the things that you talked about, you know, where they're just going to kind of have to clean up some of those things in terms of the building process that they're kind of taking on here, especially on some of these attacks. Because again, when you're able to enact a little bit of pressure onto some of these structures of 45Q, you're going to slow up and prevent some of these attacks, which I mean, I swear, I feel like this Sky Altar has been pretty much in control of 45Q the entire time. So we do have a little bit of a different skill setup for 62M1 that we could be looking forward to, and something that's not as kind of as funky, for lack of a better term. So just about a minute left in this match. Chat, don't forget that this is a best of 3 series. If you guys enjoyed the cast, be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the official Rise of Kingdoms official channel. And if you guys enjoyed the casters here, myself and Brian Koo, our YouTube links are also down below in the description as well, so be sure to go ahead and check us out. And 30 seconds left here. Any closing thoughts on this match, Brian, before we go to an intermission?
Well, you know, you and I, we're going to just relax and rest our brains a little bit, you know, during this 10-minute intermission. But I think if you're at 62M1, you're going to spend these 10 minutes thinking about this building right here, this Sky Altar that has just been an absolute disaster of a lane for them. You're right. The red team has held this building for more of the match than the blue team has. And look at this. They are generating points again here with 10 seconds left. So they have to come up with a solution for this building. You cannot repeat the same mistakes and expect a different result. Repeat the same thing and expect a different result. And yeah, they have to fix this Sky Altar lane and just go from there for game 2.
Yeah, I agree. And we have our MVP here with the Siege farming commander. 44,000 points for 45Q to 36,062 M1. We can see the occupation score, the true difference here. We can see, wow, I mean, what a provision score from 62 M1. So that's probably something that they were really kind of banking on here. I think that's one of the higher ones that I've ever seen. Almost 9,000 points of provision. So that's something to look out for in the next match. If they are able to keep up those provisions while kind of sharpening their occupation game a little bit, we might have a little bit of a closer match on our hands. Brian and I are going to go to intermission. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for match 2 of this best of 3 series between 45Q and 62M1. We will see you then.
Defeat the enemy, run to the obelisk, defend this legacy, fly to your destiny. It's time to fight, you will rise, not fall, never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all, the truth will always conquer. Chasing their mark, get on mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim things. We rise higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up. We are the kings, we are the queens. We are the gods, goddesses of this land. Stand up, don't drown in the dust. The land of the sand one's a prize on your hand. Hold tight, Don't lose your way, chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one. Bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground. Off the pyramid of life, let the spirit get you my cause. We are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't draw in the dust. The land of the sun knows the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try. Chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one. Bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground. Off the pyramid of life, let the spirit get you my cause. We are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Even when you fall, sticks and stones may break your bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earthquake won't shake you, cause you are the king, you are the queen, you are the truth of the land. You rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. You rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. You rise up, climb to the highest ground. Off the pyramid of life, let the spirit get you my cause. You are the king, you are the queen. You will rise up to the top.
Dying night, the shadow of the bleeding night. The sword is losing its light, there's nowhere to hide. It's time to face the dark and fight them back. The moon is turning into evil red, burns the desert into ash, ruin the ark with chaos fire, yeah. Survivors won't pray for luck, belief could be hard as rocks, go against the deepest dark. The Sabbath's calling you above the sky. This war will end with the bravest men. Sent on the regroup for the fight. Now we've come back. I'm wondering who I am. Run through the fire, chasing for the meaning of the end is fighting. Who I am, the hands of flame. Would I be a hero? Would I see my neverland? I'll fight for the dreams that you had. Believe in your friends, get ready for the world's fight. You know who I am. Let's fight on time. Illuminate and lead the sky till the dawn. Back to life. Dying night, the shadow of the lonely night. The sword is losing its light, there's nowhere to hide. It's time to face the dark and fight them back. The sand is turning into evil black, burns the desert into ash, ruin the ark of chaos fire, yeah. Survivors won't pray for luck, belief could be hard as rocks, go against the deepest dark. The Sabbath's calling you above the sky. This war will end with the bravest men. Centaur regroup for the fight. Now we've come back. I'm wondering who I am. Run down the fire, chasing for the meaning of the endless fighting. Who I am, the hands of flame. Would it be a hero? Would I see my neverland? I'll fight for the dreams that you had. Believe in your friends, get ready for the worst fight. You know who I am. It's right on time. Illuminate the bleeding sky till the dawn comes back to life. I've seen my people down with sword in their hands, still standing their ground. No time for sadness, holding my faith, just keep on moving on. Fires and fires are falling everywhere, crying in the air, shouting out a glorious name. The name of the Savior in history till forever. Your faith is leading your way to the light. We know the real fighters never die. Send on fight them one more time. Now we've come back. You're gonna know who I am. Run through the fire, finding out the meaning of the ruthless fighting. Here I am, the hand of flame. I will be the hero and rebuild my home, my land. I'll fight for the dreams that you had. Believe in your friends, get ready for the worst fight. You know who I am. It's right on time. Illuminate the bleeding sky till the dawn comes back to life.
The smoke clears the air.
And we're back, governors. Match number 2 of our best of 3 series between 45Q and 62M1. It does look like these guys now have switched sides. So 62M1 now in the red, 45Q in the blue. Back with my buddy Brian Koo. That rhymed. We got bars. How's it going,
Nice
Brian?
one. Oh man, you're like sharper for the second match. I love it. Like, rhyming and everything. You know, I was thinking, I was just kind of looking around at the Ark skills, familiarizing myself with stocking up a little bit more, and I saw the skill Inferno, this new skill that was introduced in the last year or so, along with No Mark. Inferno was a skill we saw some teams use in the regular Osiris League. I believe I remember 1875 using it. And there's even one match where both teams used Inferno for the same arc. Inferno is a skill where you ignite one of your marches, and then after 18 seconds, if that march is still alive, it burns most of the marches around it from either team, doing a lot of damage. And if we think about home run plays from 62M1, Dan, I think you have to throw something like Inferno into the mix. If you don't want to use like Master Strategy again and try to warp the arc again, there are other things they can do. There are other things that M1 can do here. They can try to steal obelisks, early no mark, maybe just do better on the occupation game and then Master Strategy troops to a late mid-fight. There are so many things 62M1 can do in this second match, and I just hope they do one of those things instead of just trying to repeat the same thing again and losing in the same sort of way. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think we have to remember too, 45Q is the little bit more seasoned team here, being a kind of a realm champion, 62M1, getting in through qualifiers, being a runner-up of Anubis. So they're no stranger to these later round arc matches as well. So I am confident that they are going to, tune up their strategy. I think that was maybe a case that, it's our first match out of a three rounder. Let's try something a little bit funky. Didn't really go to plan. It was kind of neat. It was really cool to watch, but again, I just think that it stifled them a little bit too much for the longevity of a match. Now, if we were talking about maybe silver arc battlefield where it's a 30-minute match, maybe something a little bit different in that realm, but we are playing in the golden battlefield, Grand Prix. all the stakes are on the line. Gates are open. Match 2 out of our best of 3 series has begun. 45Q in the blue, up 1 match to 62M1 in the red. Brian, do you think 62M1 is going to be able to make the adjustments and push this to a match 3? Do you think 45Q is going to be able to shut the door and move on to the finals?
I think that 45Q is going to win this game. I'm rooting for 62M1 to make this a really interesting 3-game series. One subtle thing we didn't notice until the end of the match was that 45Q did a bit less gathering than they had in past weeks. They've been averaging about 6,500 gathering points per match. They only did 5,700 gathering points in the game 1. So they just leaned on the occupation game with a couple more marches, maybe one extra march that used to gather became an occupation march. And what I'm looking for here at the start, Dan, is the red team M1. Are they going to send out gatherers like they did in game 1? Because those 4 to 5 marches that weren't in the field for these first occupation battles, it really cost them. It really cost them. And we are already seeing a difference from 62M1 casting energetic very quickly, immediately as the match starts. So maybe we won't see any gatherers, and we probably won't see an early stocking up from 62M1. So they are making adjustments already.
Yeah, that's good to see. And then I think another thing to look at as we're kind of opening up this match, 45Q and the way that they were posturing up onto these kind of middle areas here to kind of elude how much of what marchers are sending to their outer or inner lanes. And I do want to point out something too that I noticed last match is that 45Q does really well is kind of sending out these like moving sentries of T1s early and going to harass some of the outposts, and also just kind of scouting ahead a little bit. So you can see that 45Q did use 2 sentries so far. They may have had another one here. I may have missed it, but I did notice that last match that they were kind of using these T1s as kind of moving sentries to kind of get a little bit better gauge. And we do see 62M1 kind of starting to go up into this middle portion here onto the mountain, trying to kind of shroud where they're going to go. Are they going to go to the outside? Are they going to go to the inside? How much are they going to commit? And so far, so
Dude, look
good.
At the line. Look at that line from blue. Look at that line. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is. How do they do that? I guess they're all targeting the exact same spot to go to, like the exact same spot. That was crazy. That was absolutely crazy how uniform that line was.
Very satisfying to watch, for sure.
Yeah, incredible discipline by 45Q. Watching people walk to the exact same spot in a desert.
And hey, man, that's what sets these top tier teams apart. And we can see an Ethelfled rally here. That's something that you don't see every day. It does have some of the march speed, but when it comes to tanking some damage, it's not quite the best, and that thing's probably going to get poofed before you can make any real progress there. So really interesting start there from 62M1, and we can see postures up here now for 45Q in the blue, 62M1 in the red. Split offs on the top side. It does look like a little bit of a heavier commit here for 45Q on this top side, going for the Sky Altar, sniffing out the sentry of 62M1, and I think this might be something to keep an eye on here. This is going to be very interesting to see if 45Q is going to be able to get this Sky Altar here, as it does seem like they have more troops than 62M1. Desert Altar fights are also getting going. 30 seconds until the altars spawn. Let's see if 45Q can come out as hot as they did in the first match, or if 62M1 is able to respond here.
One thing that's different for M1 is they don't have any gatherers out. So they made that adjustment to boost their open field fighting. They have no gatherers right now. And on the top side, it looked like they matched the numbers pretty well for blue team. And at their own, Desert Altar, the bottom side, they look like they're actually in very good shape too. So we just want to see if they're going to hold their altars. That's really the key. The red team altars, are they going to be able to hold these things? And actually they did take the Desert Altar from 45Q here. Good job capturing that, Dan. And they got big numbers here as well.
Yeah, a lot of numbers here. No mark has been used from 62M1 as well. So you can see instead of the 3-minute first occupation time, they do have a 2-minute on this home desert altar of 45Q. Unfortunately, they weren't able to secure their home desert altar, although it looks like the defense is going to be able to clear this field out. They should be able to retake this desert altar back and secure those first occupation points. So they are cleaning up this match. They're cleaning up this match a little bit, and they are going to have to actually go back and take their sky altar, because if they're just kind of trading off the altars on this top side, then it's kind of all for naught. So I would really like to see 62M1 go ahead and take the sky altar back. These team flips and the color changes are screwing me up a little bit here, so yeah. I'm stuttering on my teams a little bit, so forgive me, Chad and Brian. But pretty good attack here, and from 45Q to withstand the retake from 62M1.
Yeah, a couple of really close situations here on the top side. Both teams took the other team's altars, but now they have to hold them, right? At the desert altar, the red team only needs about 45 seconds because they used no mark. At this sky altar here, 45Q needs another minute 30 to capture this building. Rally coming in, but big numbers for blue. They definitely have a lot of numbers here. So yeah, it's just close for both of them. It's both of these situations are really close. It's starting to feel to me like M1 is going to get the first cap on the enemy desert altar, which is really good. And if I had to guess right now, it does look like 45Q is going to get the capture on this sky altar. Heraclius, YSS Garrison here, and just a ton of field. Rally's already been killed here. So it's a good start for 45Q because they got the first capture and they didn't need to use no mark to do it.
Yeah. How do you feel about that early no mark use from 62M1 right out of the gates here?
So I was watching the sky altar. It's hard to say if they got the first cap on the enemy desert altar. Like, it was really close. You can see now that blue team has it, so it was like really close. But I think they must have, because their other buildings are not capped. So I think they barely got that building. In that sense, I think the no mark is good. But the problem is they didn't do any outpost attacks. Like, they got a little bit for this no mark. You know, they kind of like broke even in the early game. Yeah. But and no stocking up, right? Like, so they don't have the energy point, skill point advantage they normally have. They are going to be at a bit of a points disadvantage for this first mid fight, and they've used no mark while blue team has not. So not great, Dan, not great.
Yeah, the 45Q, it was able to take the first occupation of the 62M1 home sky altar, and I think this would have been the structure here that would have made that play kind of worthwhile. Look, one first, obviously you would like 4 first occupations of the altars like 45Q did to them last match, but if you get the 1 or you get 3, then it's all good and dandy. But 45Q kind of relentless on this outside sky altar, and they are still holding on to the home structure of 62M1. Meanwhile, they are able to flip back their own desert altar here. So, you know, it's an interesting play. I think the opening no mark a little too early. I think a little overzealous. Yes, the play on this inside desert altar was well and good, but you just kind of traded even here with the sky altar, as they are finally actually able to get it back. No mark still in play for them, so this is going to get the first occupation of 1 minute. 3 minutes until Ark is going to spawn. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in middle, and 62M1 is definitely going to be playing a little bit down here when it comes to this first mid Ark fight, where they're going to be a little bit down on these skill points here, and we see our scores kind of lining up. First occupations all on the board: 4,900 points for 62M1, 4,200 points for 45Q, and we can see the points per minute just about even. And we do have some gatherers out now for 62M1, as well as some out for 45Q. don't forget, chat, that 62M1 was able to put up about 8,800 points on their provisions last match, which they lost. So something to keep in the back of our minds as this match progresses. And 2 minutes left until this first mid-arc. What are we expecting here, Brian? I think anything fun or any trickery that's gonna be coming to us here in this first mid-arc fight?
Looks to me like both teams are heavily mobilizing mid. They're getting there late, but when I'm just looking at what marches are doing, it's pretty much everybody is going mid. There's a little bit of, M1 has a few people on the sides at the bottom trying to deal with the Sky Altar. It looks to me like 45Q is definitely going heavy mid, and M1, it's like a little bit up in the air, but the thing is they already used no marks, so like you're not getting a lot of value if you skip this first mid. The other thing about that early no mark is it took them a long time to capture their buildings on the bottom side. We were looking at the top side, but they did get first capture on their buildings on the bottom side, but it took them a while to fully occupy them and generate points. And they just did not get a lot of points generation for that no mark. So yeah, good situation for 45Q here. And they do seem to be mobilizing. They're going to get to mid first. I don't know about more numbers though, because as we get closer to the arc spawning, more and more blue marches are actually on the side. Yeah, you just sort of hovered around what we're seeing. We are seeing a lot of blue marches that are on the sides. That top area is being spotted out. Like really good scout here by the BQ from red. So they see this. They know that there's about 10 marches not mid. And if I'm M1, I'm seizing on this opportunity and trying to contest this first arc. But I mean, they're cutting it real close. They got people coming late. Arc spawning in 15 seconds.
15 seconds. 45Q on top of the Temple of Osiris, really postured up well here. Again, numbers advantage might be in favor of 62M1. 45Q with the Desert Storm, a skill that we've seen make a resurgence in this Grand Prix run and even a little bit in our Season 9 Osiris League. Arc spawning, 62M1 with the pull.
Big pull.
Very big.
Because they're getting there late.
Yes, yeah.
Their marches are getting here late, so they just had to get that pull. But the pull gives them a shot here, I think.
This is a pretty...
They look like they've got the numbers. It looks like Red has the numbers to me, Dan.
It does look like they have the numbers. I do agree with you there. And this is a big arc for them, I think, because, again, they use the no mark. They're kind of in this weird situation with their skill points here. And I think if they can get this arc, they can kind of maybe recover a little bit from the lack of value, I would call, from that first no mark that they were able to do before this mid arc fight. And it is definitely very red here. 62M1 able to take the arc, now starting to escort it. 3 altar swing for 45Q though, however, taking the sky altars in each lane and probably a little bit more on this Shrine of War. So this map is going to turn relatively blue, and I would expect a no mark coming soon, Brian, from 45Q, I would expect.
Probably, because the thing is, they barely used any skill points mid. A calculated gamble by both teams. Only one skill got cast by either team. There's a Desert Storm cast by 45Q mid. That's the only skill that got cast mid. And, you know, that's a really interesting gamble by both teams. Obviously, it worked out great for M1. They used no skills mid and captured the arc. Bit of a misplay, a miscalculation, I think, by 45Q. If they just cast to the death, they always win that pretty close mid fight. So yeah, they definitely have the points for no mark. So yeah, it's an interesting situation, Dan, here with the skills, because like if they had held the arc, then they could have just like used the no mark quickly and made this a 3-arc game. And so like the early no mark wouldn't be a big deal. But now the red team can just hold this arc and the blue team's bar is just full. Like they just have a maxed bar, and it almost doesn't matter if they cast no mark now or cast no mark in 10 minutes, because they're just going to have a full bar for the second mid fight regardless. Because M1 stole this arc.
Very true. Good point. And then also too for 45Q as well, like they haven't used energetic yet, so we know that there's a stocking up play also coming. I think they really would have liked to get that arc because of the stocking up, and that's probably something that they were looking to do. Take the arc, you know, use limited amount of skill points, kind of pull out this stocking up play and unload your skill points, so you can do something like getting no mark off with a 4 altar swing on the second arc while also taking second arc, and then you kind of put the nail in the coffin there. But 62M1 playing a little bit of spoiler here, and this arc should be all but safe. And now the question goes to 45Q, and what are they going to do with their skill points? And also for 62M1, are they going to be able to withstand the building assault that 45Q is able to constantly put on? And we saw this last match in the Sky Altar, which is 62M1s, but was pretty much 45Qs for the entirety of the match. And we're starting to see a little bit of the same tale here on the Sky Altar, Brian.
Yeah, so Dan, this is a great opportunity for me to ask a question that's kind of stupid, but I've been wondering it. When you play Grand Prix for 1093 and the map flips, do you also flip? Like if you're a bottom player when you're the red team, a bottom side player when you're the red team, when you become the blue team, do you then become a top side player?
Yes. Yeah. So like
Okay.
my role
So everybody's
was
flipping.
yes. Yeah. My role was inside lane on Desert Altar. If we're on bottom, and then if we go on to top, then it's inside lane for Desert Altar as well. It stays the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so this Sky Altar, even though it's on the opposite side of the map, these are the same players that we saw in the last match. This is the same mismatch lane where 45Q has just been really, really dominant in this lane. And so you're right, like what is M1 going to do to hold this building more often? One thing we are seeing them do is they are gathering less, right? They have less gatherers out right now than the blue team does. It's pretty close, but they have slightly less gatherers. Are they going to also just play more defense and not attack so much at the Desert Altar? Are they just going to have a defensive posture in both of these lanes? I think that's what they need to do, especially now that you've got this arc. You don't have to go crazy here. You don't have to go take crazy risks.
Yeah.
If you're 62M1, just put more players in this lane, play defense, hold this building, and go from there. That's what I would like to see from 62M1 here.
Yeah.
As they try to just take back their own building.
I think another thing they have to do here too is that they're letting some of these reinforcement marches just sit a little bit too free, where a lot of the attention is, you know, as it should be on the murder ball and like where the actual fighting is. But I mean, there's been I have to say there's probably been at least 3 full Ethelfleds that have just gotten into the Sky Altar now, and probably 1 double C, where the troop capacity isn't quite that much, but you just can't let an like a full 370,000 troop march just kind of sit there uncontested and kind of fill this thing, because each one that's getting into the Sky Altar is delaying you more and more points. This is your structure. You're supposed to hold this structure. You have the faster refresh time. So I think that it's another thing that 62M1 has to do a little bit of a better job here on this lane. Of course, that's kind of, you know, what they have to do when the building is already occupied and they're trying to flip it back. So, you know, kind of the flip side as to what you said as to what they have to do to prevent it from actually flipping in the first place. And I think another thing that we mentioned the last match is like they need to put a little bit more pressure onto this Desert Altar. Like you get this thing to flip 1 or 2 times, 45Q is going to have to start to respect your attacks there, and they aren't going to be able to put on as much pressure on to the Sky Altar. So we're gonna have to see. Third, and here's another really good attack from 45Q on 62. And what I'm telling you, this is exhausting if you're a player, especially happening 2 matches back to back. Brian, this is absolutely exhausting.
Yeah, let's see how they do with reinforcing here. Let's see what 62M1. Well, there's the garrison gets popped, and there it goes. You know, if you click on that battle report, let's just take a look at how many reigns they got in that fight. Looks like they did get. So, I mean, they did get in reigns, but the garrison was just so low. Like, if you look at the Sky Altar on the other side, and you look at the reinforcing that was happening from 45Q, they also got about 5 or 6 marches in, but it was when the garrison was much higher, right? Much higher.
Yeah.
So they're just getting better reinforcements, like you said. probably because they're able to just stand right at the building comfortably. And yeah, I think that is like a bit of a just out micro by 45Q, and it's really manifesting in a dominant occupation game thus far in this match. But, you know, again, game 2 here, score-wise, it's a slight advantage for M1. With the no mark in the bag, I'd say this is basically a tie game right now.
Yeah.
But it's really the advantage of 45Q is they just seem like they're the better team on the sides.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's interesting too. Like I'm like, as you were kind of saying, like it kind of just jarred something like I feel like we're in this like good old Western showdown right now where 62M1's trying to bleed this arc clock out a little bit, and 45Q, I'm sure they're sitting like full points right now. Like they have to be relatively close, and they can't use anything because they want to go and get that next arc. Because I think if they go and get that next arc, then they can just put it on as I'm getting my Silk Road notifications. That's amazing.
We're doing it too, actually. We're actively doing Silk Road right now.
Okay,
I'm missing it.
But yeah, I mean, they have to hold on to those skill points right now. They don't want to get trigger happy and use those skill points 45Q, because if they do, then they're going to be at a disadvantage going into the next mid, and that's kind of like 62M1's way back into this. Remember, 62M1 has beaten the likes of 6GGT as well as 93T, two of the very best teams in the international server, from putting on points in the mid. And it seems like 45Q is kind of calculating this out to really take that that aspect away from them, at least in this match here.
You know, I think what might have happened here is that both teams got rid of stocking up. Obviously, M1 got rid of stocking up, or they very likely did. But if 45Q had stocking up, Dan, I feel like what they could do is they could cast No Mark now, and because they have stocking up, even if the Arc gets returned like immediately after the No Mark gets cast, they could use stocking up to get enough points to contest that second mid. Mm-hmm. But maybe 45Q also got rid of stocking up, and so like you said, they almost have to hold on to No Mark, because if they cast it, then their opponents can, in the blink of an eye, return the Arc and then maybe have a skill point advantage mid. But it does look like No Mark just got cast by 45Q.
And
so interesting.
I think the reason why they did that is because 62M1 dropped this Arc intentionally. And I think by doing that, 62M1 essentially could have allowed 45Q to just sit with full points and not be able to use their skill bar. I don't know if 62M1 would have been able to either, but I think that No Mark comes in play here where 45Q kind of wants 62M1 to go ahead and catch this Arc. I think at least it's kind of, you know, one of the main reasons why I can think that they kind of would have just popped it now, because like you said, 62M1 can just absolutely just go and pick this up and catch this Arc, and now they're at a 6-point advantage going into you know, the next mid arc fight. So really kind of interesting sequence of events that are happening here, and at least we're getting some nice kind of different takes that we're used to seeing in these arc matches, as we usually do from Chinese servers. I feel like they're some of the more innovative teams that we come across through our kind of arc journeys here.
Yeah, I think the other reason they used No Mark when they did is because they have both of M1's altars. So they're just getting massive value right now. They're generating 900 plus points per minute right now.
Yeah. That would be the simpler thing.
Well, but they were taking, I guess, maybe a slight risk where they're like, okay, if we cast No Mark now and we're down to only 4 skill points, the enemy can just like insta return the Arc. But they didn't do that. Their enemy did not do that. They sort of like called their, ultimately 45Q called their bluff in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to cast No Mark and there's nothing you can do about it. There's just nothing you can do about it. So a very, very good sequence of events for 45Q here, taking both altars, getting a massively high value No Mark and not being punished for it. At this point, with the Arc still being held, they are going to have time to build their skill bar back up and have plenty of points for the second mid fight that will be happening in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and we can see that they have picked it back up. 62M1 did. They do have to get this. You do have to get a Garrison in here. I mean, this is kind of one of the mistakes that they made last match, and I mean, you have a Garrison sitting right here, 62M1, and you kind of got to get this thing in. I mean, this is you have Grand Prix on the line as they do get the Heraclius switch here. You have Grand Prix on the line. You definitely don't want to be going into the lower bracket to fight either 60 GT or Beer. And a due reminder that whoever does go into lower bracket, who comes up to face the team in the finals, whether it's 45Q or 62M1, are going to have to win 2 best-of-3 series. So you really don't want to put yourself in that position, and you really kind of want to have that nice advantage going into the finals where you only have to win 1 best-of-3. Speaking of the 60 GT and Beer match, on the official Rise of Kingdoms channel, our good buddies Plato and Word Eddie Chatsky are going to be streaming that match in just about 15 to 20 minutes. That match is going to be kicking off. That is going to be a do or die match. Winner goes home, 60 GT or Beer. 2 of the perennial international server teams left in this Grand Prix, so don't forget to check those guys out on the official Rise of Kingdoms channel as well. 30 minutes left in this match, just under 2 minutes until Ark has to score, and here comes that ever popular QSH Shapur rally. I knew we were onto something when we were playing with that, and now we're seeing so much of it in these later stages here.
Yeah, interesting that people are going with different rallies. We've certainly seen Attila Subutai rallies as well. Looks like the infantry rallies have fallen off pretty hard. We're not seeing a lot of Scipio Emilianus rallies so far today. But yeah, 45Q attacking both altars at this point. They have an equally good-looking attack on the Sky Altar on the top side. But interesting there, where neither team wanted to engage. They're all just engaging as soon as the rally hits. I feel like that favors 45Q, right? They just get to attack all together. That's just all the pressure hitting this Heraclius garrison at the same time. And look at this, a rally walking through for 62M1 towards the Shrine of War, probably. Or is that a counter rally? I think there might have been a counter rally on this. On this, actually. But yeah, like really good attacks by 45Q here. Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that M1 they have to hold. They have to hold these buildings, and they're not doing it. Like they lost both altars. They lost both altars.
I think that positioning here and that kind of the way that 45Q wanted to engage that again kind of plays to what the rally is. That QSH I mean, it's not even anti-swarm. I mean, I guess you can call it anti-swarm. It only works because it's Ark and you're not taking deads. But like the AoE that march, that rally combination puts out is just like, it's so much. And you can see how like healthy this 45Q field presence still is, and they're just going to be able to go in and kind of prevent another quick take back. As you can see, now come the double C's, now come the Ethelfleds, and it's almost like clockwork for these guys. And I've noticed a few times too, as you mentioned the Cav rallies, that there are moments too where they'll send, and this is what I mean, where in the last match where you can send a rally and not have that be like your main attack. You can send an Attila Subutai, let that thing kind of do a little bit of that first damage, kind of mess up the tempo, and then you can kind of send this QSH Shapur rally to help you with the open field presence and clear it out. And we can see the success that it's been having for 45Q as they have a 4 altar swing. And let's see, No Mark is not in play right now, so I mean, thank God for 62M1, because 740 points per minute for 45Q, 260 points per minute for 62M1. 62M1 has delivered the Ark, so we have 7 minutes until our next mid-Ark fight here. And I don't know, Brian, what are some of the win conditions here for 62M1 that you're thinking if you are one of the coordinators for them?
I think the timing is okay here for 62M1. They're having a heavy fight on both sides to take back their buildings. It's going to take them a minute or two to do that. And then there will be about 4 minutes left before Ark. stocking up now, getting cast, but you have 4 minutes left before Ark once this fight is successfully finished, and then you get to Ark on time. Whereas if you're the 45Q, I think as your marches are getting wiped here, you end up, if you go to Ark immediately, you end up getting there early. So the timing is okay for M1 here. They obviously have like big issues holding their buildings. They're really outgunned on the buildings, but if they can just hit this timing window correctly, which it looks like they're probably doing, like they need to get this Sky Altar down. They can't let the, like we're seeing a bunch of Reigns come in here and we see that the Swarmers are very low health. There's no rally on this building. So like this building has to get flipped here. It has to get flipped here. If they can flip it here, the timing is good and they can have a chance to win the second mid. But man, Dan, are they going to get this building? I mean, the Reigns are coming in. We see the blue marches. Look at it, hopping through the resource tile and then hopping back in because there's no space. Oh my gosh, so many reinforcements.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. And again, that's kind of like down to some of the microing that we were talking about in the last match, where you do have to march swap, right? Like that's some of the things that are fundamentals to good Ark players is you got to be, you have to know to march swap, and you have to also be willing to march swap too. And I think that's, as you see, you know, from another Silk Road Barbarian Horde incoming, as you see with these like higher tier teams, is it's not so much of the focus on the open field, and it's, hey, we need to take care of our structures here. And 62M1 is able to get it back, but I don't know, the attack again is just right back in their faces, and 62M1 doesn't have a proper garrison here, so this thing might fall yet again.
There's a Hera that's walking. A Hera's walking here right now. But look at like what 45Q is doing right now. They're messing up the timing for the second mid like so hard. This is this is super good by these blue marches, because look at the timing for them. They're, instead of going to mid super early, they sent back to this Sky Altar and they're just applying pressure. They're just being annoying and applying pressure. And then they're going to die off. They're completely outnumbered. They're going to die off. But it's like a really perfect timing by these blue marches that are swarming here to just be a little extra annoying, a little extra productive before going to mid. Just to give you everybody an update on the bottom side, that Desert Altar, M1 finally got the Desert Altar. It took them 2 rallies. They had to rally this thing twice. But like we said, the timing is fine. Like the timing for red team is fine. They're going to die off here at the Desert Altar. I think this is very productive for M1. These marches in red are doing a great job. They need to kill themselves off quickly here, but I think they can get to mid just in time and maybe even flip this building first. So very good attack here for 62M1.
Yeah, good response as needed too, right? Going into this very, very crucial second arc. I mean, we're just over the halfway point in this match now, and you know, we're starting to kind of see a little bit of breaths of life from 62M1 as they really need to about 3,000, 4,000 point differential right now, roughly around. It's a little late here, so my math is starting to teeter off.
Look at this. Look at that Ethel. Look at what that Ethel did there at the Desert Altar. She could have filled this building. This building is pretty low. Instead, the Ethel just killed herself off to keep this altar pretty weak so that it takes these marches literally forever to get killed. Like that's really good micro. I assume that's what that Ethel was doing, because like surely that Ethel can jump in the building unless they have another march in there. But yeah, they kept this Desert Altar intentionally low, and it meant that it's going to take the red team's marches forever to get to mid, and you can see it. You can see that blue is getting to mid earlier than red. 2 minutes to go before the arc spawns. Can M1 get here in time? I think they're just barely going to make it, actually.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that you make that point about keeping the altar low, because usually you're doing that with the rallies to kind of, you know, mess up the timings there, as we do see a Desert Storm coming in from 45Q on the 62M1 middle marches. I do want to note out here that 62M1 is kind of going on this outside lane attack here on the home Sky Altar of 62M1, so taking a little bit of a mixed approach here, going for mid and then also going for some buildings, as well as a little bit of an attack here starting to develop here for for the Desert Altar on this inside lane. Master strategy coming in for 62 M1, and here's kind of what we saw maybe from last. I don't understand this. A minute left, they're just bringing troops over into the middle. I don't know if I like that for 6 points worth of skills, Brian. What do you think? I think this is exactly what we saw in the second mid fight for 62 M1 last match. And then here comes a time warp into a no mark, I'm assuming.
I mean, it's decent value. They're getting a good number of marches. They probably got about 10 marches to this fight.
Double master strategy in the middle. 45Q.
And this is just also teleporting. This is also teleporting marches.
Yeah.
Teleporting marches as well.
From the outside Sky Altar, which they were able to take.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Big plays by 62M1 here. They're getting about 20 more marches to this fight than they would otherwise have. This second warp is going to get here a little bit late. And then and they also use to the death from both teams. So they did get more marches here, and they need them because they're losing the fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that. I mean, they literally used the same skills again. Like it's a different master strategy approach that they took. It's just a reshaped master strategy approach from the last match, and it's gonna cost them now. Like that was huge. I mean, I would have looked for a no mark. I mean, they have 3 altars. They had an attack that was forming here for this Desert Altar that could have led into a no mark. They could have honestly went with the no mark over here anyway, since they capped it. 12 points to bring, 30-40 troops over for the mid fight. I don't know. I mean, we're just like I call myself dumb. You're not dumb. I'm just a dumb commentator. So what do I know? But I just don't see a lot of value in that play, Bri.
Look, I mean, these teams definitely know more about Ark than we do, and they
100%.
Understand the skills a lot better than we do. Like, I thought neither team had stocking up. It turns out they both have stocking up, right? Like, they're both using stocking up here. And for me, Dan, I think I kind of like those master strategies. I mean, they got the Sky Altar out of it, which they probably needed, right? And they had to win that mid. Like, they can't sack that mid. They have to win that mid, or they're just not going to win the match.
This is true.
And they did bring a decent number of marches. Like, it looked to me like maybe 20. Maybe 10 on the first one and 10 on the second one. Something around there. They got them to mid. But it was disjointed, and it's the power of, like, everyone attacking at the same time. Blue team brought everyone to mid. They walked to mid. They had everyone attack at the exact same time. They cast to the death. That's the other thing, right? When you're warping people in, they're less likely to get that to the death buff, right? Because they might not be there when the buff gets cast.
This is true.
So just the more simple approach from 45Q won out there. But I thought it was a pretty good, like a relatively well executed play by M1. Now, listen, if you want to be results oriented and be like, well, it didn't work. I'm not, pinging you on this, Dan, but it's just people in general are very results oriented.
Yes.
And they're like, it didn't work, so therefore it had to be bad. But when I'm just looking at the execution of it and like the logical reasoning for doing it, I actually think it makes a lot of sense by M1 there.
I mean, there might be a little something to it here. They've held this Sky Altar now. This has got, going on 2 minutes plus. I mean, it's generating points for them. This was a relatively healthy attack on the Desert Altar, as you had the mid rotation coming in for 45Q, which was a little battered down. I would have liked to see a little bit more come out of this attack here. And then I think we would have really been in a good place if we were 62 M1. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some positives that came out of it. They really needed to get that arc here. I mean, we're looking at a true score now of 28 3 to 23 3. It's a 5,000 point differential. Again, 62 M1 last match, 8,800 points on provision, so we can't put the farming abilities past 62M1, but 45Q has to know that that's in their bag and are definitely aware of it. So it's going to be a really interesting last 18 minutes to kind of close this match out. I'm really happy to see 62M1 holding on to the Sky Altar, and I would be even happier if they can hold on to their own Sky Altar on this other side, as a very nice attack forming for 45Q on the home Shrine of War on 62M1 here.
Yeah, the pressure is going to get crazy for M1 here in the final 15 minutes of the game. They need to hold their buildings, and they're going to need to hold their buildings while doing a massive gathering blitz. They have sent out about 12 to 15 gatherers right now. So a massive, sudden gathering blitz by 62M1, feeling like they have to outgather to win this game. And so they're going to be outnumbered in these fights. Like in this defense, which looks decent. It looks like they are probably going to hold this Shrine of War here, right? So this is what M1 has to do. They're probably outnumbered because they have more gatherers at this point, but they have to hold their buildings. They have to hold their buildings and then hope and pray that somehow the points work out in their favor. Yeah. And actually, the Ark has been returned. Yes. So the Ark gets returned quickly, which is pretty incredible, actually. So you can see that 45Q is a little nervous about the score also, although I don't think they should be. You know, I honestly don't think they should have been nervous. I don't think they realized how little gathering M1 was doing for the first half of the match.
True.
But yeah, they did return the Ark, and so we will have a third Ark, and that is the red team's win condition. Yeah, it's a pretty clear win condition at this point. I would bring in these gatherers. Like all these gatherers that the red team sent out, I would start bringing them in, and that might even be happening. I'm watching well, I'm not sure, but I would bring in these gatherers and get ready for an all-in for the third mid. Like you got to try to win the third mid instead of outgather these dudes.
I agree. I think I think there's a few ways in this back into this as well. I mean, like, look, 45Q kind of just doing 62M1 a little bit of a favor, allowing more points on the board now. So if there's a way that 62M1 can kind of balance a little bit,
check out the Desert Altar. Check out the Desert Altar on top side.
Okay. Oh, good there attack. We go.
Good attack here by
and
M1. Really good attack.
This is what we're kind of talking about. Like, this is something that is going to kind of garner the respect of 45Q, that they're going to have to pull and allocate resources away from this outside lane that's kind of plagued 62M1, as there is an attack going on that outside Sky Altar. We're going to have to keep an eye on that and see if it does flip over. But 62M1 breathing some life into this match here a little bit, as we are going to be closing in on 5 minutes on this Ark, and it's going to be tough. I'm curious as to... I'm trying to work out the skill point usage in my head for 62M1 to try and figure out what they're going to have available. They might have 6 points available to them, which I guess
they can just stocking up. They can use stocking up again.
Oh, yes,
so,
yes.
And they have so many gatherers. They have so many gatherers out right now that they will be able to get a lot of points from stocking up. But then they just have to the death. Like, that's all they have. Yeah. I mean, this is why 45Q returned the Ark, because they know their opponent's skill bar. We can see the skill bar, and 45Q can just visualize the skill bar, and they're like, oh, they did the same skills as last match, so they just have nothing mid. They have nothing mid.
Yeah, and when they can,
and they don't even have to the death. They don't even have to the death, Dan, because they already used time warp.
Oh,
so they have nothing.
That's
they have absolutely nothing for
yes.
mid.
Yeah. That's the call there. That's why 45Q then decided to cash the Ark, because they're gonna have all the skills available to unleash on 62M1, and it's not looking too pretty here. So maybe the condition is they're gonna have to keep their fingers crossed and pray for that mid Ark and see if a miracle can happen with no skills being used at all compared to all the skills that 45Q can use, and then just provisioning their hearts out. And that's the Grand Prix finals on the line for 62M1. Again, the loser of this
check out the Sky Altar. Check out the Sky Altar on the top side.
Oh yeah, nice
Garrison issue here. Like, really good. Oh, now it's switched. There was a double C in there, but
and a good attack.
Switching in time.
Good attack coming though. Very good attack coming for 45Q.
this is the difference in the match, right? Is a minute ago we watched a Desert Altar attack where the red team actually had the enemy outnumbered, but they didn't take the building. Like the defense was so good from 45Q, the reinforcements were so good from 45Q that they did not take the building. Now this fight here looks like about even numbers. And my guess here, I think they will defend here. They will successfully defend just because like the rally's already dead. It's a good cleanup by M1. And so this is what you have to do. You have to make your buildings tough to capture, but 45Q makes their buildings impossible to capture. Like it's just like so hard to crack these guys.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this is like some of these like better attacks that have started happening on this Desert Altar. Like I think this was one of the first attacks for 45Q where they only sent, it was like maybe like a player and a half worth of marches. So they are starting to kind of respect the building game a little bit and knowing that they have to allocate the resources for the Desert Altar. And it looks like 45Q now making a blitz, an all-out blitz for this third arc that's going to be spawning in just under 3 minutes. 12 minutes left in the match, and this is going to be the arc that is going to determine it. I mean, this is what, so third arc, so this is the 4,000 point arc, right, Bri?
Yep. And yeah, I mean, 45Q is just feeling great about it. Casting, stocking up so they have even more skills. They haven't used Time Warp yet, so they're going to be able to use To the Death again. They can do like a double Desert Storm. I mean, it's just impossible. It's literally impossible for the red team to win this third mid. I think it's kind of interesting that they're walking to mid. I almost thought they would maybe skip mid and just try to take some of the buildings because, like, at least you can maybe accomplish that. Listen, I would love to be proven wrong here, but to me, this is just impossible for the red team to win this arc.
Yeah, I mean, a lot stacked up against them. We've seen the double Desert Storm last week as well, which I thought was just a very intriguing move, and it's kind of something that you can't really pull off like all too often, but when you can pull it off, it's when you really know that you're in the driver's seat. And the fact that you can hit them with a double Desert Storm, or you can Time Warp and get your To the Death back, meanwhile they don't have To the Death, like, it's just there's a lot, there's too many variables I think that are working against 62 M1 right now. Hey, we could be proven wrong, and maybe the farmers come out in all their glory and they're able to get these points high enough. But these last 10 minutes are going to be super crucial for 62 M1, and this arc going to be even more crucial as well. Just about a minute until arc spawns. 45Q with a nice position in the middle already, and this is going to be the arc that seals the deal here, or keeps hopes alive.
Yeah, I think this is the going away party here for both teams. 45Q will go away to the winners bracket and watch everybody else battle it out, and they're just going to send M1 to the losers bracket here. It was really the second arc that was the all-in play for M1. If you look at the skills around the 22-minute mark, they used everything just to dump into that second arc. It didn't work out, but that was their play. And once you lose that Time Warp and your enemy still has Time Warp, it's just over. It's just over for the third arc. And they're just going to get pummeled here with multiple Desert Storms and a To the Death for good measure.
Yeah, and
you'd love to be in 45Q's position here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is you're kind of not riding off into the sunset entirely yet, but I mean, yeah, you're gonna have all the buffs, all the goodies that you can get. Here comes the To the Death for 45Q, no mark for 62 M1 in response. The most that they can do, unfortunately. And pull already from 45Q. And let's see, miracles can happen. Although I think not today for 62 M1, as they are getting very cleanly wiped from this middle. A little contingent of troops up here trying to harass the arc carrier, but just sea of blue, and 45Q is all but sealing their ticket into the finals with this third successful mid-arc take. And they are just going to look to bleed this thing out here, Bri. No ways to come back for 62 M1, I believe, correct?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be over here. I think they tried to bring a T1. They dared to bring a T1 double C march to grab that Ark. I think they wanted to make it look really, really ugly. So props to the players from Red who actually did jump that initial Ark carrier, because if they had gotten away, they'd be halfway home already. And so, you know, 62M1, who is still in the tournament, right? Like they still have a lot of tournament left to be played. They still have to keep the vibes high, basically. And so we do see them that they have taken the Sky Altar on the bottom side. Actually, they took both buildings on the bottom side, getting value for this no mark. And, you know, obviously it's going to be a bit of an emotional letdown at the moment if you're 62M1, but ultimately they are playing again tomorrow. They've got a match again tomorrow at undetermined time, I believe. But yeah, they are going to be playing tomorrow in the lower bracket finals against either Beer or 60 GT. So yeah, I mean, there's just so much tournament left, Dan. 45Q obviously seems like really, really strong here. And, you know, if these teams weren't aware of it before, they have to know now that, you know, it's going to be hard to win the occupation game against 45Q just because it's so hard to take their buildings. It's like incredibly hard to take their buildings. So like you have to work super, super hard to get a marginal amount of points. You know, listen, these teams probably knew that already, but that's something they can learn. They can be like, all right, listen, we have to figure out a way to beat 45Q that doesn't involve outpointing them by multiple thousands in occupation. Because I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen.
They were, with this last no mark, they were kind of able to close that gap a little bit. I mean, we're still talking about 4,000 points, which is, you know, a pretty large chunk of points there. And, but I mean, like, all things considered, it gets really, I mean, we're going to see the Ark score obviously blow up a little bit more here. The provision score should be relatively even. You know, it just comes down to keeping that tempo and that control. I think if 62M1 is able to go in and kind of, you know, go back to the drawing board and find some ways that they can regain tempo, right, and pose some of those questions to their opponents, I think they're going to find themselves in a better position. But they are going to only have about a day to kind of figure out how to reposition their strategy. As you mentioned, that they are going to be going into the lower brackets to face off against the winner of Beer and 60 GT. Plato and Ward Chatsky are actually casting that right now on the Rise of Kingdoms official channel, so be sure to go check that out. And then tomorrow as well, it just clicked when you mentioned it. That is also a best of three in the
best of three tomorrow.
In the losers bracket and the lower bracket final. I'm sorry, I should say. So in the lower bracket final, unless I'm misreading.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
That's like, talk about a lot of Ark being played for 62 M1. Look, I mean, they might be able to pull off, like, this is going to be probably a record for Rise of Kingdoms, and like most matches played in the shortest amount of time. They would have 2 matches played today against 45Q. They'll have another 2 matches in the lower bracket finals, and then if they go up to play the finals against 45Q again, they'll then have to win another best of 3 series. I think 2 best of 3 series at that as well. Oh my gosh, that is so much Ark to play for one team. It's almost like, it's exhausting to think about it. I can't even imagine playing in something like that.
Yeah, it is. It's a definite mental drain for these players. But you know, you see why they're so good. Like you know, because obviously there's you get a lot of reps from actually playing in the Grand Prix. You also get a lot of practice from just playing on this server. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, like, you know, 62M1 did lose. They are going to lose this match today. They're going to lose. They lost the first match by about 8,000. Looks like they're going to probably lose this match by maybe 9,000. But that's like a respectable score. That's actually the lowest. I think that's going to be the lowest margins of victory that 45Q has had so far in this tournament.
Okay.
So I mean, I think they beat 21YL by about 11 or 12,000. So it's a pretty respectable performance by M1 in my opinion. And I think there'll be tough competition for whoever they play tomorrow. And yeah, 45Q just remains the overdog in this tournament. Once again in this game, they didn't really give anything away, Dan. I mean, did they do anything that was
not
abnormal compared to the previous one? Like, not really.
Nope.
They almost just like read their opponent and were like, okay, you just used everything. We're just going to instant return this second arc.
Yeah.
And easily win the third arc. So,
yeah, you want
they're
you want to dump the arc and try and play, you know, skill point games with us, so we'll just use no mark on you and kind of force you to to catch the arc. So yeah, they honestly played, you know, as crisp and as clean as a two matches that you can play. And I agree, like they haven't really showed much, which is great, because obviously, like, the good teams, you're going to go in, you're going to do your homework, you're going to find the tendencies on these teams, to which 45Q kind of did here against 62M1, knowing that, hey, they tried some real funky stuff in the first match. We know that 62M1 likes to kind of play a little bit more into this mid game, as they have beaten 60GT by running up arc scores on them. So we're just going to take that away from them. We're gonna batter them on this occupation game, and we're just going to make life you know, absolute hell for them all over the place, and doing so without really revealing much. And it's going to be troubling for these teams going in. Whoever is going to meet them in the finals is going to have their work cut out for them, because how do you plan for a team that doesn't really show you much? So we really got their work cut out for them, and really clean match from 45Q, and really commendable effort from 62M1 as well, giving us some things that we haven't really seen before. You know, a master strategy, insta snipe, I guess we can call it, kind of play, and then a double master strategy from, you know, I guess alter captures into to bring more troops into the middle. So some really cool things that we've seen, and the Chinese server teams, as always, kind of being innovative and keeping us on our toes here.
You know, another thing I have to correct myself on is the gathering. I thought that the blue team would end up gathering more in this match, but it is actually M1 that has outgathered. Even though they had almost no gatherers at the beginning of the match, they just poured on the gathering in the second half. They're still going to get up to some. You're a little bit behind me, so they're gonna score a few more points here as things go on. But yeah, you know, both of these teams are tough to deal with, because like 62M1, they're gonna outgather you and then like also make your life difficult in all the other areas, and so that's just like a generally tough opponent. Yeah, but like 45Q to me is like a world-class poker player here, where they do all of the fundamentally sound things correctly. Like, they play all the small pots very well, but then they also have the ability, and they also read you really well. Like, they are reading their opponents very well. Oh yeah, and they have the ability to run the big bluff. Like, they do all the small things well, but at any moment they can also run the big bluff and, you know, do like a double obelisk steal early in the match. So, you know, yeah, just like two very tough opponents to deal with for the international teams, but 45Q definitely a cut above here.
Yeah, as this match is now wrapped up here, congrats to 45Q moving on to the finals. 62M1 still has their hopes alive, as they will be facing the winner of the Beer and GT match, which is going on right now on the Rise of Kingdoms official channel. Plato and Warda and Chatsky are casting that. It is about 2 a.m., but I think I'm going to stay up and watch that, to be honest, Brian.
I'll be watching it as well. Sure.
Yeah, so 62M1 is going to go into another best of 3 tomorrow, and we're really closing in on these Grand Prix finals here. Brian, any final thoughts to close us out for today?
Well, thank you all who are still here watching. Our match is wrapping up just as the Beer GT match is heating up. So we thank you all for lasting until the very end with us here. Dan, it's always great casting with you. And congratulations to 45Q for a great 2-0 victory here. And they are advancing into the championship finals of this Global Champions Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Always a pleasure to cast with you guys. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the Rise of Kingdoms official channel. Brian and I's YouTube links are down below if you enjoyed the casting. Always a pleasure, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Later. Peace.